Hey, welcome to the UX Energy Podcast. We are greeted by Tom Scott, well-known design recruiter who's giving his top tips and advice on how to get that first job within UX. He shares really excellent advice and we're really excited to have him on the show. Let's see what he has to say. So I've just got a question that we could maybe spend a bit of time on. So Samuel is one of the young UX juniors, and that really, it's a real disappointment. So we talked about burnout, we talked about not standing out well enough, but the third sort of punch in the stomach for designers is, he says, would love to know why most companies don't fancy the idea of hiring junior UX designers. You know, you'd like to know what ways lead designers or head of design in companies would be advocates for bringing in one or two juniors on board. So I'm like, you know that yourself, you know, you've got to, place, talent in companies, but often it is, we need a senior, we need a lead.
Yeah.
What's happening there in the industry, and how can you, I guess, encourage people like Samuel who just need a bit of motivation as to kind of like, why can't I get a job as a junior?
It's a really good question. A couple of things. I think the first thing is, especially post-COVID, a lot of the business models are changing, a lot of new projects are arising, and companies often need people that can just crack on with it and have done this before and offer immediate value. Like greenfield projects, like they just need a good solid senior lead on there to execute. I think a lot of head of designs and lead designers are advocates of juniors. I don't know many people who don't want to work with juniors and bring them on, but often it comes down to a capacity issue. So for example, if you're understaffed with design in the design team, you just need like people that can take that workload off you. Often juniors, without meaning to, they add to your workload. So if you already got a massive workload, they don't want to add to that. And often design teams, as they're scaling, they don't have the processes, the frameworks in place to enable an early stage design to actually be successful. I think that's one of the main, definitely one of the main reasons. And plus, if you can get a senior for say 70K, and that's your budget, you're going to try and get the most senior person possible. Yeah. To make that person look good and whatever. And I think it really is a huge investment of time and energy into early stage designers.
Yeah, that's really good. And so what's the solution then for people for juniors, right? So all you've done is you just put the final nail in the coffin in a sense of just like, there's not space for that. So what's the hope bit?
Firstly, I think, going back to like education companies, obviously UX has boomed and it's become this big thing where you can make lots of money, and a lot of the education companies have a lot to answer for in terms of they have pumped so many people into this industry, which is absolutely great, but it's causing a huge backlog of early stage science. I've been saying this for years, and I think there needs to be some more regulation there. But anyway, getting to the good bit, I think there's definitely early stage roles out there. I think targeting the more established companies that have large design teams who can take on juniors because they have capacity and they have seniors and mids to able to mentor and train them. Like BBC, for example, have a fantastic design internship program. There are companies out there that are doing it, especially post-COVID, more people come back to the office. There's a lot more desire to hire juniors again, because during COVID, it's very hard to hire early stage designers remotely, because you need to sort of be around people and learn from them as you're doing, rather than waiting for a Zoom call. So there's definitely roles for early stage designers. I literally just hired one for our design studio from General Assembly. So there's definitely roles out there. I think there's not as many roles live on job boards because you put a job out, you'll get 400 applications and you don't have time to go through that. And you've always got juniors that you have in mind. So I think it's not just focusing on direct applications, but building connections and relationships with people. So, targeting 100 companies, going to figure out who the head of design is, who the senior designers are, make friends with them, ask for jobs, ask is there anything going right now, and then if there's not, 1 or 2 months down the line there will be, and then they'll think of you straight away rather than needing to post. So I think it's just a different way of approaching you, and you're not going to get obviously headhunted as a junior because it just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So you've literally got to go and put all the effort in to make it work, rather than sitting back and just applying online and think of other ways to do it.
Yeah, I love that, because I think there is a lot of passive on that, isn't it? Of like just people who just apply for maybe like 600 applications and they just wait and get frustrated. Good point.
Yeah, and I think sorry, I completely lost my train of thought.
Yeah, that was my bad. Sorry.
That's it. So it's just a hustle, and I think you've in a good hustle. There's different. You've just got a 9 to 5, absolutely caning. Like, think of it as a job. Your job is to find a job. So go into Google Sheets, map it all out. Who the companies, who the head of design, and just make sure you contact every single one. And just make that your full-time job to find a job, rather than bits here and there.
That's golden advice. I like that.